Gruesome Magazine.
Hello again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Safer at Home. All right, yeah, we are in the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and this film takes advantage of that. And takes it to the extreme-ish. It might feel a little closer than we want it to be, but let's find out what we do. Well, before I'll do that, I gotta introduce everybody. Joining me tonight, of course, is my co-host Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm at home, so I'm
safer. Who's safest? All right. Also joining us is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I am great. I'm also at home.
Red on you.
In the
yeah,
blood
I got
room.
some red on you. I'm not doing any Molly or
no. That's of course what they're doing in the film. Yeah, I'm watching the screen and I'm thinking, oh my God, this could very easily be that film. It's so funny. Yeah. We are talking about Safer at Home. It's in select theaters, VOD, and digital, February 26, 2021. The director is Will Wernick, and he wrote it along with Leah Bozonelis. Not Nelius, but Nelis. The cast includes Jocelyn, Hudon. Oh my God, why am I doing this? Emma Lahana. You know what? The synopsis is 2 years of the pandemic. A group of friends throw a wild online party. After taking ecstasy, things go terribly wrong, and the safety of their homes becomes more terrifying than the raging chaos outside. Yeah, I mean, this is entirely told through a Zoom meeting, or like what we're doing here, what you're watching here on YouTube, and well, we just got to find out, did it work? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our first impressions, and then we're going to talk about the film for a little bit. We're going to try not to do spoilers, but it may be difficult. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, a score of 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Oh my. All right, I've got to do this. Crystal, you're up first. What is your first impression of, drumroll, Safer at Home? Breathe. Just breathe.
I've been waiting to hear this.
I know.
Okay. Well,
You always send us these messages in the chat that I can't tell for sure what you mean.
So what?
Is it positive or negative?
So I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time with this one. Okay. So, okay. Pandemic movies are difficult and they're hard. And I understand that because, I mean, we know that I may have been in one that was really, truly tragic and horrible. I'll point out the good. I think the acting was good. I think the characters were clearly, delineated. I think they had personality. They seemed like they were legitimately friends. I liked the quality of the cameras. Even though it was like a Zoom shoot, the quality of the camera was clearly higher. And I liked the lighting and everyone's, home and the way everything looked. And I enjoyed actually the interaction of the friends. When they got on the Zoom, it's one of the guys' birthdays, so they're getting together at a Zoom party to celebrate his birthday. And in this dimension or reality, the pandemic is far worse, and way more people have died, and they really are on like this major curfew, and I guess it seems like they're in like a police state. Mm-hmm. The whole country is. So, sure, fine, I'll buy it, whatever. And that is what I liked about the movie. And then we get into the story.
Everything else.
Oh boy, it's it's a very immature group of friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't act like they have been graduated from high school for 15 years, as they mentioned. They act like they maybe have been graduated from high school for 15 minutes. It's very weird and silly, and their interactions are very strange. Like I said, I liked the actors. I think they did a good job in their roles, but it's the story that goes completely off the rails, and not in a good way. It goes off the rails in a way that is absolutely unbelievable. There's just no way I can believe this story. And I don't want to talk about what happens because obviously that'll give some spoilers, but I don't think that this is anything that would actually happen. And if it did happen, I don't think any of the friends would have reacted in the way that they did. And the way that it transpired and everything that goes from there, quite frankly, I found it silly. So, yeah.
Is that your first impression? You found
Yeah,
it silly?
that was a lot. That was a lot. Yeah, there are some good things. I think there's some good things, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Jeff Mohr, you are up next. What was your first impression of Safer at Home, sir?
Well, the first thing I thought is there's kind of a little prelude and a prologue, and this is probably not for Trump voters.
You
Uh,
think?
I'm just warning you, not making any comment about it. It's a scary as hell scenario. And again, like Crystal said, it's much worse than what we're dealing with. There's, I think, like 3 or 4 mutations of the virus, and each time it gets more contagious and more deadly. And they keep having little news announcements of how many people have died, and it keeps ramping up. And these people are locked in their apartments or houses, and so they're having this Zoom meeting. Now, I don't know. Somehow, I guess after this has been going on, I think it's like summer of 2022, isn't it? Something like that. So after having this go on for 2 years, they're still able to earn incomes and maintain their apartments and houses. They don't really bring that up, but it's way too predictable. I mean, there's 2 key pieces of action that take place that I'm like going, okay, I know what's going on there. And then I know what's going to happen next. And I was right. And it was too, it isn't like they tipped it off. It just was too much of a trope or cliche almost. And there's one scene where somebody's like maybe getting sick from they take a drug as kind of a celebration, and the guy thinks it's ecstasy. But one of the guys runs into the bathroom because he thinks he's going to get sick. And the other guy goes in there and takes the camera with him.
I know.
I'm like,
oh, gosh.
And there's stuff like that all the way through. There's a place where a guy is literally running for his life.
I know.
But he's doing it with his arm outstretched while you video yourself running. Now, I mean, I could understand there was a reason to keep the camera on, and he could have let people know where he was by shooting a street sign as he ran by or something. I don't know. I just found it really just what Crystal said, unrealistic. The people got annoying at times. I thought the acting was okay. I'm just saying it's in the writing or in the story. Arguing in front of everybody. They're on this Zoom. You haven't seen these people for a while, and they have this couple has this big fight in front of everybody. So it looked good. I think the premise was good. I just don't think the writing was very good.
I might not be terribly different than you guys here. It has a lot of aspects that I enjoy. It's the found footage kind of thing, and this is I think they call this slightly different. They call this the laptop, or what, I forget what it is, like PC top. I forget what it is. Or screen. No, screen. There's a different name for this. Like Searching and other films are like this. Host was like this, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
This is not Host. This is not Host.
Host does this guy. Well, the concepts are very similar, except for Host was, supernatural. But it had the potential to equal Host in that the way it's structured. The filming and everything. And the cast is good. The cast is perfect for this. The technology part of it, the camera work, even the lighting, even when they want to fake it out, right? And have the fake pixelization, they did all that right. But man, is this a damn silly movie, like you said. It's a little preposterous. And,
yes.
And it doesn't really, there's not enough to distract us from how silly it is. Right. I think the idea would have worked if it was paced a little faster or had a little more extreme things happening, a little bit more manic going on, because then you would be more about the pops and the sizzles and less about that's not adding up. You're not going to do that. Right. If they took a little bit more chances with the camera work, like when you said, like when they're running, I mean, we'll get into all that here in a little bit, but so it had things going for it, but I found myself just kind of barking at the movie, kind of almost yelling back at it.
Mm-hmm.
But not
I was.
But not in a good way, right? I mean, it's just like, what are you, this movie? I mean, it's really, okay, so it is really interesting, and so that's my first impression, so we'll get into everything else. My first impression, getting into it, I liked the couples, right? There's 3 couples and then a single friend. Although in a flashback you saw that at one point she was a couple, but is no longer a couple.
And they have a good explanation for that.
Yeah, so I like that, right? So
yeah.
It's a good mix of people, a good mix of different, home life and orientation and everything. Even by interracial. So, there's it's playing the right games, right? It's making the right choices. And the actors are good. But once it gets into the actual event of the party, even before the event that sends everything south, it's already kind of like, come on. Right?
Well, for one, let's be real. He committed a federal crime by sending that in the mail.
He mailed drugs to everybody.
That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. And we're supposedly in this sort of high. I think that's the first part where I was like, what the heck?
They don't live that far away from each other that he wouldn't just drive it over during the day when it's not.
Well, that guy, but the other people are like, one of them's in like New York.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're further away from, but still, it's a federal offense to do that. It's
I guess I
really
thought
bad.
I thought they all lived closer because the one guy like literally drives over.
Well, he said he was the only one close enough to go, but I mean, so that when that happened, I was like. And then the fact that they're all like, "Oh yeah, let's party, let's totally." Dude, you're in your 30s. Grow up. Like, ooh, when the one guy doesn't want to do it, like never have I ever. If someone hasn't wanted to do something like that around me, would I ever be a pusher to that degree? It's just really gross. It's gross.
Yeah. And I'm. I don't know. We're probably interrupting you here, Doc, but
sorry.
I thought there were some tension scenes in there, where I was like into it, but they were like removed segments. If I attached them to the rest of the movie, you're right. It was silly and unrealistic. The whole concept of this was not like the lockdown that we're in now. This is like a super duper lockdown. Like there's curfews and you're going to jail. You're going to detention centers if they catch you. And these guys go out driving around and never see a cop.
Well, they do.
And it takes them a long time.
But the cop
to get there.
doesn't do anything, apparently.
No, and then maybe they're explaining that because they talk about like a big surge or explosion of cases or something. So maybe the cops are just busy somewhere. I don't know, but all of that was just very odd to me.
Okay,
There's
but
ends up
not
being a
only
bunch
that.
of driving around and yeah.
Jeff, their neighbor, who was supposed like an ex-cop or whatever, why would he leave his house and go next door to knock on their door? And he's coughing. It's ridiculous. He's coughing and I'm not feeling good. Are you kidding me? Like, I would have called the cops on him instead of him calling the cops on you. I mean,
I thought it was
silly.
the guy that lived in the apartment. I forget his name now. I thought he was the one that was coughing to try to get the other guy to leave.
Oh, maybe that was it. I didn't understand. I
But
thought someone said he wasn't feeling.
It wasn't obvious. It wasn't obvious.
And then, like, the people make noise on their own Zoom video, and he's like, it's just stupid. It was just it made me so mad. I'm like, so they made noise. But maybe I'm just a jerk, but I'm like, I don't answer the door. F you, dude. I'm not answering the door. Get the hell away from my door. I have a sign on my door that says, no soliciting, no. And basically, I will slam the door in your face or I won't answer.
Yep.
So why? I don't understand. This kind of stuff just makes me want to pull my hair out and bothers me. I get it. You wanted to make a movie. You wanted to do something creative. I think you had the right elements with the actors. I think you had good equipment. I even liked their little like fake police lights they used and stuff like mine.
It worked. It worked. It was enough, right?
Yeah, and I was like, so that's creative. I was like, ooh, that's like one of my lights there. I like that. But then I'm like, yeah, let's see. Let's see if I have one here. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, you can't tell.
No, you
can't tell because.
There you go. Do it again. Do it again.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I just turned it off.
There you go.
They're coming to take me away. Okay.
All you need is a. They're at the door.
But this story, I mean, okay. Let's be real too. Would any of you, if any of you, would have told your friend, "Oh, we're going to help you. We're going to figure." Other than if anyone of my friends had said anything other than you need to call the cops, I would have been like, you're insane. You're crazy. The whole thing never should have. It's just silly. Well, don't you agree? That was their.
Yeah, I know.
They're all very good friends. I mean, honestly, if this were going to happen and for them to react the way that they did, there was only one person that was the newbie and one person they didn't like, apparently. I guess I could have seen that more.
Well, they liked the original girlfriend better, apparently.
Yeah, which is a weird little. I guess.
Yeah, it needed something a little bit more stakes for everybody, not just for the one person, and that's hard to do. Distance, right? Now, Host did it, right? Host was able to share, but it was supernatural, so you can't do that here,
right?
So they needed something a little more extreme. Now, I don't want to rewrite the film for him, but the point is that for the other three, it just wasn't the motivation for them to do what they did just wasn't there. Mm-hmm. It needed something else. It just lacked, right? So we didn't buy it as an audience, so it's hard to get into it, to follow the characters to do it, and then it just comes across silly, right?
How about how the end scene he's like perfectly in frame? I was actually laughing. I was actually laughing. He's in frame. He's completely in frame. Yeah, I don't want to say anything, but like at the end, I'm like, I mean, really?
Yeah, I was.
You gotta take some liberties, right?
I was screaming at the screen with what he was doing too.
Yeah.
Well, and well, I don't know. I didn't buy that they were on what they said they were. It just they weren't acting like they were. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, then they tried to be like, I don't know, I feel different. Like, maybe I've taken too much Adderall, or it's a methamphetamine. Clearly, I don't know who. I mean, yeah.
I know, I know where you're going with that, but it just I've seen people they stack different than this. There's a
Yeah.
little
Well,
Right.
if they are on ecstasy, that I guess they were trying to pretend like they weren't, but she said they're like, but like meth, and I'm like, well, I've never seen meth with hearts on it, so I mean, just saying, it's just very weird.
Well, it is in the
Yeah,
future,
but you would
But I
know.
have seen, yeah, yeah, I'm just like, okay.
So I guess where do you go from here? Because we obviously the film doesn't work, but
No.
it's not because it's a bad film. I want to make that
That's
clear
what's
because
sad. Yeah, I
it
agree.
is. I mean, because the what went into it is strong, and I want to make sure everybody listening understands that the acting, the film, the technical part of it, it really comes down to this story needed a couple more passes before it actually got shot. But
the setup, I thought the setup was great because I had like within a couple of days of watching this, I'd watched like a documentary or news program about the idea that the virus would mutate. If it becomes more contagious and more deadly, we're kind of screwed. And so then, boom, they had these kind of news reports kind of fading into that. And I had already had that on my mind. And it was just like, oh my God, this is what it could be like. And,
yeah, I know when they first mentioned it, they were talking about, it's 1 million people died. Like we're at 500,000 this week, right? So it's like it wasn't that preposterous at first, and then they kept going. But that was a given. That was
then
fine.
it got to like 200. Yeah,
Right, but that was fine because that's the whole part of it. But I don't know if that ever bled into. It was in the surroundings, but it never was in the actual story, right? It never seemed to be a big part of these characters' lives outside of it wasn't any different.
no, because
right?
if that were really the case, if it were really that bad, would you open your door for your neighbor? Why would you do that? I mean, he didn't have a mask. I just think, so I actually think they went against themselves when they did that. She opened the door for the police officer without a mask on. I'm just like, is it this intense? I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that part of it, unfortunately. But that part was irrelevant.
It was
to the movie.
actually.
Yeah, didn't matter.
It actually could happen without all those circumstances if you really wanted it to. But okay, so we're just going to circle back around to trashing it. So I think we should just wrap this up. We're going to give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5. And our favorite scene. We got to pick one. And I think there are some here to pick. I think there are. You guys might prove me wrong, but I think there are. But if you're listening, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Just writing this down. If you favorite scene.
Did I press too hard? Did I press too hard?
I think you did. If you're listening, thank you so much. Please, if you want to help us out, it's really easy to do and it's free. Hit the subscribe button, share with a friend.
Yay.
That's all it takes, and we would really appreciate if you want to get a little bit more involved. Hit the
You
like
go to the
button.
website.
Go to the
merch.
website.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Leave some comments down below. Hit the bell to get notified. We'd love to hear comments. If you see this film or when you see this film, we'd love to hear what you thought of it and tell us how wrong we are. We'd love to hear how wrong we are. Because that often is true.
Happens often.
We also want to take a moment to thank our patrons. Without their help, we would not be able to do not only the gruesome magazine shows, but Horror News Radio, Decades of Horror, and Heroes and Droids, and some of the other extra stuff. So there's a gruesome guide coming out soon. It's going to talk about the films coming out in March. And it's kind of crazy, guys. We had 19 films in the pool to choose from, which we had to watch 19 trailers to weed it down to 8 or 10, and we ended up with 10. Of course, Godzilla versus Kong is at the top of that. But anyway, so we got to get back into this. And Crystal, you are up first with your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
Okay, so my final thoughts are watch it, catch it. I mean, I think everyone will have a different view or opinion on this. Some of you might think this is completely plausible, and you may have friends like this. I'm sorry for you. But no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Are you?
But I can totally tell you my favorite scene, and that is the sex scene. That was the funniest. I loved Oliver and his new hot chick. I thought that was so funny. I thought that was like my favorite part. And I love how the other girl was like, ew, that's ridiculous. Bah. So I totally like that part of it. Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Do you have a score? Did you give us a score?
Yeah. Oh, a score. Oh, fudge. A 2.
A 2.
Because it's well crafted. Yeah. It's just not a good story. Yeah.
Okay.
A 2.
Right. No, I'm not arguing with you on that one. All right, yeah. Jeff Mohr, sir. Your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
I'm gonna go. Cheese
and crackers.
I want to go higher. I have to tell you a story about cheeses. You do this to me, Doc. Anyway, I want to go higher, but I got to go. I'll go 2.25 because it looks good. Acting's good. I love the setup, but it's in the details in the story were just not believable for me. And I'm kind of like Crystal in that, yeah, there are people that could act like this.
Millennials,
but they did seem really
That's
kind
of
of
true, though.
What?
It's not millennials that act like that. No.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm not saying anything about any time frame. I'm just saying it's Doc that is. So letters to Doc. No,
I'll hate mail too.
No, anyway, you get what I'm saying. They were not, because of the way they acted and overreacted to everything. They weren't really likable. Everything was exaggerated. And the setup, I'm telling you, when the first thing happened, I spent the rest of the movie keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just waiting for something to happen. And then at the end, I'm like going, oh no, this is what's going to happen. So anyway, I at least give me some options there that I'm not going to obviously see it. Favorite scene, I'm going to say how can I say this? The event when Evan and Harper interact have their fight in front of everybody. I actually thought I thought the fight was not, their argument was not well motivated, but the physical action of it I thought was well done and could have happened that way.
Yeah, so, I thought it was effective. I thought that worked. They did it right. They went, they didn't pick up the camera and take it with them. They just went to the back of the room. You could still see them, and everybody else was doing their own thing. So there was distractions, and then
right. But the actual physical. Yeah, I don't want to go any farther, but I thought was explainable and understandable and possible.
I agree.
And tragic, right? So it'd be set up the events. From there, though, it starts falling apart. All right, I'm going to jump in here with a 2 as well. This film did not register for me. I kind of kept calling BS too much, and I didn't really care for the character. You brought something up, Jeff, that the characters aren't likable, so you don't have any investment in the story, and that's kind of the flaws, right? We're calling it preposterous, but you can overcome that. If that's the story you want to tell, you can add elements to overcome that. You can do it with pacing. You can do it with exaggeration and over the top. You can make it chaotic. You can also do it by investing in your characters. If we gave a shit, right, about the characters that were the ones that were really in trouble,
Yeah.
we would be worried about them, right? We'd be concerned. We'd want the other people to get involved. We'd want them to stay online. We'd want them to get in there and help. But we didn't care. We didn't care. So, and I hate to make the comparison to Host because it's unfair, but in Host, I have to do it because to support my argument, because in Host, we did care, right? We got to like the people. We cared about the situation they were in. And there was some backstory involving it that, made us even like the characters more, right? So.
Okay, but let's say something really crazy about that. Even though that was completely unrealistic and supernatural, it seemed entirely more believable than this.
See what I mean? But that's the point, right? That's the point. If you have the chaotic nature and you have the investment, if you're invested in the characters, you'll make leaps, and you'll be more forgiving. But I wasn't, and I was calling BS. So two is the best I can do, and I apologize for everybody involved because you did a great job getting the film made, but yeah, story counts. My favorite scene. I don't know both their names. I know one of them is Ben, and his husband, and
Liam.
They were so cute.
Liam. I loved their argument when they go kind of off on each other about the littlest of things, and that's kind of accurate. We're all stuck in the room, stuck in these houses.
Oh yeah.
Some of us haven't left the house for days.
Yeah.
And it's the littlest thing.
I mean, see, okay, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if you don't leave the house. That is no excuse to not bathe, okay? No excuse to not bathe. What on earth was that fight about with them? I was like, wait, what? He hasn't taken, what? Oh, you could brush your teeth? I was like, what? Why? Why? And then Jeff was like,
I know, but it's real.
It was a joke. I took a shower. I took a shower like an hour ago.
I'll tell you this. Everyone in this household, I will shame them. I will did you take a shower today, sir? You're disgusting. I was like, I am so much better than you. And I say that. I was like, I am so much better than you.
Oh, no. There's a soundbite for you. All right. There's our review for Safer at Home. It's coming out this weekend, Friday the 26th. So if you have the chance, watch it. You might find yourself relating to it far more than we are. It's also set in LA, so there's some LA scenes that might add some to certain viewers. I think watching the Cecil Hotel thing kind of blew out some of the shots they took. They're like, oh no, look at all this. What's happening? I'm like, hey, you're just down by the Cecil.
Oh yeah.
So, but it was great. It was great in that respect. Yeah, there you go. That's our report. Thank you for hanging out with us and listening this long to us babble about movies.
Yeah.
Jeff, Crystal, thank you for joining me to talk about it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
You're
having
welcome.
me. Yay.
Let's say
Hope
good
you
night.
enjoy it. Bye. Good night.
All right.